What's up my friends, it feels like I haven't seen you guys in forever, but it is so good to be back. Today we are going to talk about the phenomenon that is Crazy Rich Asians. This is a romantic comedy based on the Kevin Kwan book. It is directed by Jon M and it stars Constance Wu as Rachel Chu, an Asian American woman whose boyfriend Nick, played by Henry Golding, brings her back to his home country of Singapore in order to meet his parents as well as attend the wedding of Nick's best friend. And it is here in Singapore that Rachel discovers Nick is from one of the wealthiest families in the country and all his relatives live this incredibly extravagant lifestyle. And so the movie is about Rachel trying to process all this information while also trying to deal with the mindset of the Chinese people, Chinese relatives who are inherently different in that region. You know, when you're dating someone from an extremely rich family, there's always that issue of whether you would be accepted by the older generation. I actually love this movie. I had a blast, and honestly it was something that I hadn't really seen on screen before. And I'm not usually a fan of romantic comedies, but this film grabbed me from start to finish. And I wasn't sure whether it was more because this film is more relatable to me personally, or because the film was just very well paced and there was always something interesting going on. I think huge credit goes to Jon Chu for directing the movie very well. The way he makes his characters convey their emotions without really saying anything at all sometimes in the film was really great. There are many instances where a character just looks at someone a certain way and you can already imagine what they're thinking in their heads, and that's a mark of good directing as well as good acting. Constance Wu gave a really good performance as the protagonist. I thought she was solid throughout. I think Henry Golding gave a pretty okay performance as well, despite this being his first feature film. It's always great to see Datuk Michelle Yeoh, a fellow Malaysian, on screen, always great. But I think the standout performer in this film was Awkwafina. This girl is so confident, so energetic, so funny. She lights up every scene that she's in, and I hope to see more of her in the future. Ken Jeong also shows up in a very small role as Awkwafina's dad, but I thought he was hilarious. He's only really in one scene where a family is sitting at a table for lunch, but I thought that scene was one of the most memorable and funny scenes in the movie, and it was all because of him. I think the movie generally deals with its humor very well, but it also has a very big heart. It has a lot of genuine moments, and I think this is because it ties itself to its theme very well. The idea that relationships are affected by differences in social class, differences in upbringing and your environment, how the stereotypical Western mindset of individuality clashes with the more Eastern mindset of the community. The film explores not just how the life of the super rich in Asia is, but it also dives deep into how family empires deal with their children, choosing spouses, considering how steeped in tradition some of these families are, and how they feel the public's perception of that family is really important. And we're seeing all of this through the eyes of Rachel, a down-to-earth regular American lady who is essentially a fish out of water around these upper-class individuals, much like a lot of us would be. So that aspect of the movie I enjoyed. One element of the movie that really stood out to me was the soundtrack. The songs used in this movie not only contribute to its consistent tone, but it also reflects the conflict within the movie, the conflict between the traditional versus the modern, the Western versus the Eastern influences. Some of the songs are native to the region, but even the popular English songs I noticed are given some sort of oriental treatment, whether they are sung by an Asian artist or their lyrics are translated into Chinese. And I thought that was a very powerful thing to do. I love the songs and the soundtrack and the music used in this movie. As for some of the flaws I have with this movie, I think the ending is somewhat predictable, although I do feel that it was executed well enough for it to not be too big of a deal. I think some of the acting wasn't great across the board. The opening scene in particular had some pretty awkwardly executed dialogue I felt from the characters, and that didn't really set the movie up that great for me. In addition, I think the movie could have benefited a lot from indicating that they are non-Chinese races in Singapore. I understand it might not be in the source material, but I do worry that the film portrays Singapore, such a small country, to only have Chinese people, whereas the other races are either maids or security guards. So I think there was a missed opportunity there to really make a bigger statement about diversity in film. Nevertheless, this didn't take away my enjoyment of the film as a whole. I honestly really enjoyed this movie, and I do recommend you see it. The concept feels fresh, the direction is good, cinematography is good, the soundtrack is great. I am going to give Crazy Rich Asians a 9 out of 10. I do recommend you go out and see this movie wherever it is showing near you. Shout out to my good friend Cheryl K, who is the soundtrack artist for the song that plays over the opening titles. Very proud of her. I've put a link of her channel in the description below. Check her out. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Comment below to tell me what you thought of the film. I would really like to know. But if you like this video, then like, comment, and share this video on all your social media platforms. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to this channel as well if you want to see more movie reviews from me. I'll be back next time with another movie review. So until next time, take care, have a great week ahead, maximum hype, and peace out.